Do you see MVP Caitlin on the rise?
Absolutely.
I think she's ready for that. She was already top 3-4 in voting last season.
Mm-hmm.
She's right there.
She's right there.
Did you hear what Keith Porter just said about Caitlin Clark? He's not just hyping her up, he's making a bold prediction that's going to shock the WNBA. Porter thinks Clark is ready to snatch the MVP title from a Wilson in 2025. But here's where it gets really interesting. In a recent interview with Rachel Dida on her Courtside Club podcast, Porter didn't hold back.
Jump right in. Coach Keith, is that what they call you? Is that what they call you? KP? Okay.
Yeah, KP.
Welcome to the Courtside Club. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for
I know that our Courtside Club audience is going to be so stoked to see you because we have been breaking down your workouts from afar, and it has been really fun.
Yeah, thank y'all for the love, man. I watched the videos as well. I just appreciate the love, being a new coach in this industry and like seeing all the love people are giving me, man. It's a blessing.
In the interview, Porter didn't just talk the talk. He revealed the work he's putting in to back it up. Clark is on a next-level training regimen, the kind that pushes her beyond her limits. Porter called her unstoppable, and the way he described it, he's crafting a game plan that could shake up the entire league.
Yeah, so when Steph called me, asked me would I want to come with her to Indy, it was like a no-brainer. Steph, like I tell everybody, I'm so spoiled to have Steph as like my first coach. Steph is like, I call her a mom. She's a mom first. She cares about people and she's just genuine, like, and when I'm learning about this industry, not everybody's genuine. And when you have those people like that, you don't want to let them.
Look, guys, this isn't just another coach talking big about their star player. Porter's got the experience and the vision to back it up, and he's laying out a roadmap that could lead Clark straight to the MVP title. That's exactly why Stephanie White couldn't let him go. She saw what he brings to the table, and it's nothing short of greatness. Now, you might be wondering who exactly is Keith Porter. Well, let me tell you, this guy is not just any coach. He's been in the game working as a player development coach for the Indiana Fever. But that's not all. Porter's got a wealth of experience under his belt, including 2 seasons with the Connecticut Sun. This man knows his stuff. And when he talks about player potential people.
What goes into it when you are preparing that first workout for Caitlin?
Oh my God, so I write up everything, every workout I'm writing up. So it was a lot of writing this up, scrapping that, ripping that paper up, doing it again. I love the play-in workout. So it was really just going back, first watching all of our games against Connecticut, and just seeing what she did well, what she didn't do well in, and then just watching her games and just getting really familiar with how like her body moves on the court. And for me, it's mostly kind of fine-tuning in this time of year, right? I love to fine-tune and just add like 1 or 2 more pieces that can, complement her natural game, not changing too much.
Porter's not just running Clark through the usual drills. No, he's completely revolutionizing her game. His training philosophy is all about fine-tuning players' natural abilities rather than trying to overhaul their entire game. It's like he's taking Clark's already impressive skills and adding a turbo boost, changing too much. So it was a lot of over prepping for the workouts. But everything is going great in this first month, so you may be a little bit nervous for that first one.
Too much. So it was a lot of over prepping for the workouts, but everything is going great in this first month.
So you're maybe a little bit nervous for that first one?
Yeah, always. I always get nervous for all my workouts with pros because, you want it to be great. You want it to be what they need. So nerves are always there.
But here's the kicker. Porter is not just focused on Clark's physical game. He's tapping into her mental strength, too. He knows that to be a true MVP, you need more than just skills. You need the mental toughness to handle the pressure, the confidence to take those big shots, and the resilience to bounce back when things get tough. And Porter, he's all in on building up Clark's mental game.
Every minute on the court, through all of that, through all the defenses, she was still able to break through. She was still able, we saw all the records she broke. She was still able to score. She was still able to facilitate. She was still able to stay on the court. What is that thing in her game that can just make her absolutely unstoppable? Because she was near unstoppable last season.
Remember how she dominated as a rookie? Well, that might just be the tip of the iceberg. Porter's cooking up something that could make Clark not just a star, but a legend in the making. Let's talk about last season. For a second, Clark wasn't just good. She was breaking records left and right. And get this, she was doing it while facing some of the toughest defenses in the league. We're talking full court presses, double teams, face, guarding, you name it, they threw it at her. But did that stop her? Not even close. Now you might be thinking, okay, but how does she get even better from here? Well, that's where Porter's genius comes in.
For her, like, just pace, like the stuff you guys seen in the workout, right? A lot of pick and roll work, and just learning how to like shift gears and play with different pace, right? I always compare it to like the men's side of the game, like the top guards, like, you know, the Brunsons, the Kyries, like all those guys, they have so many different gears they could shift from. They go fast when they want, they go slow when they want, right? And just learning how to like move the defense in that way. Cause we know, like you were saying, she's seen every type of coverage, right? She's getting blasted on ball screens, right? They're trying to get the ball out of her hand. So learning how to slow down when she wants to try to make that defense overcommit. Now we go the opposite way and things like that. And then just giving her like a few more finishes when she's getting downhill and things like that. So she has some more tools on her belt.
He's not just tweaking her game, he's revolutionizing at Porter's, focusing on something that might surprise you, controlling her speed. Yeah, you heard that right, the key to making Clark even more unstoppable, teaching her. When to pump the brakes, Porter's got this crazy idea that by mastering the art of changing speeds, Clark can become virtually unguardable. He's talking about the kind of skill that makes NBA guards like Jalen Brunson and Kyrie Irving so deadly. Porter's words, learning how to slow down when she wants to try to make that defense overcommit. That's the secret sauce.
It's making the other teams adapt to her instead of her having to adapt to the defense that people are throwing at her.
Absolutely,
it reminds
Coach.
me.
Absolutely.
Put me out there.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Porter's not just teaching Clark how to slow down. He's giving a whole new set of tools. We're talking about new finishing moves that'll leave defenders scratching their heads. A goal make Clark so versatile that defenses have to adapt to her, not the other way around.
In the women's game, but using all of those explosions every time down the court, as we see maybe a player like Russell Westbrook plays a little bit more on kind of this 100% all the time, which also works for him. But somebody like Kobe has that finesse. And then when he was getting on to the later days in his career, I feel like it kept his body safe.
Think about it. Last season, Clark was breaking full court presses and making split-second decisions. Like a pro, now imagine her doing all that, but with even more tricks up her sleeve. Porter's vision is to turn Clark into a complete player, someone who can control the tempo of the game and will outsmart any defense and finish in ways no one's expecting.
I think that will play into the longevity of her career as well, because when you talk about stuff like that, it reminds me of Kobe, actually, because I feel like he mastered that throughout his career of picking and choosing his spots. And he had that endless motor, but he wasn't a guy who every time down the court was sprinting or using, you know, his full dunking ability or obviously it's a little bit different in the women's.
That's right. Porter's approach isn't just about making Clark dominant. Now it's about setting her up for a long, legendary career. Just like we mentioned earlier, Kobe used finesse and strategy to stay at the top of his game. Porter's preparing Clark to be a force in the league for years to come. Keith Porter stepped forward and shared a few words reflecting on his experience working with Caitlin.
Is there anything that has surprised you about working with Caitlin?
I feel like my family, everybody's like, how's Caitlin? How's Caitlin?
Oh.
The first thing I tell everybody, which is super cool about her, is being so young, right? Being 22, being so young, but also being so mature, right? And it's the weirdest thing, because it's like almost you forget who she is because of how like relaxed and reserved she is as a person. So it's like until you go somewhere, you're like, oh my God, like the entire world wants to see you.
It's like we're getting a backstage pass to the making of a superstar. Porter's been working with Clark day in and day out, and her maturity blows him away. Can you imagine being 22, sitting next to Taylor Swift at a football game, and still staying completely grounded? That's Caitlin Clark for you. Porter can't stop raving about Clark's composure. He says Clark's ability to handle immense pressure is reminiscent of young LeBron James, but here's the kicker. Clark's dealing with something LeBron never had to face at her age, the relentless scrutiny of social media. And you know what, she's crushing it.
And I've just been so impressed by how composed she's stayed. And we haven't seen, you know, with young stars, I think of like LeBron James. I'm from Akron, Ohio. I've been watching LeBron play since he was in high school. I like saw that hype train come. Even when he entered the NBA, social media wasn't what it was at the time either. And that's like a whole nother level of pressure that a lot of these young players have to deal with. And I've just been really impressed by her composure.
Now, you might be thinking, sure, she's good on the court, but what's she like off it? Well, Porter's got the inside scoop, and it's even more impressive. He says Clark's not just a world-class athlete. She's an even better person. Can you believe that in a world where fame often goes to people's head sale, keeping it real?
But she's just a hooper. Like, she's so just down to earth and chill, like just an awesome person. Like, she's a world-class athlete, but even better person that I've seen in this 1 month of being with her. That was the thing that was so special to me. Like, I can only imagine me being 22 with the entire world wanting pictures and everything with me. Like, I wouldn't be this level-headed. Like, but for her to be so young and be so mature, man, that's special. That's a testament to her family, to her parents.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Remember all those defensive strategies teams threw at Clark last season, full court presses face, guarding double teams, you name it, they tried it. And guess what Clark broke? Through like it was nothing, Porter's still in awe of how she managed to score and set up plays despite all that pressure. Now you might be wondering, how does she do it? Porter says it's all about her laser focus while the rest of us might be freaking out under that kind of spotlight. Clark's just zeroed in on the game. It's like she's got blinders on, blocking out everything but the court.
Ability to perform on the court, because it doesn't seem like any of that has trickled into her laser focus. Maybe, Coach Stephanie White has that too. You said she's laser focused.
Locked in.
Yeah, but that's been really cool.
Well, let me tell you, it's not just about making her a star player. It's about creating a basketball phenomenon. Porter's got his sights set on some seriously lofty goals. And he's not shy about sharing them. First off, let's talk about Porter's personal goals. Can you believe this guy? He's not just focused on making Clark better. He's all about improving himself too. Porter's aiming to level up his own game. As an assistant coach, he's diving deep into scout reports, soaking up every bit of knowledge he can. Why? Because he knows that to make Clark the best, he's got to be at the top of his game too.
What are your goals for yourself for this season? Maybe for Caitlin this season? Obviously, you've been fast-tracked to the spotlight. Now you're here. You got to take a hold of this moment.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Porter's not just dreaming big for himself. He's got some wild ambitions. For Clark, you ready for this? He wants her to just destroy everything. Those are his exact words. Folks, we're not talking about a little improvement here. And we're talking full-on basketball domination. Now you might be thinking, okay, but what does destroy everything actually mean? Well, Porter's got some specific ideas. He's all about making Clark more versatile. He wants her to be comfortable in any scenario on the court, full court press. No problem, double team, bring it on. Porter's working on equipping Clark with the tools to break through any defensive strategy thrown her way. But wait, there's more.
I'm growing in that regard. And then my goals for Caitlin, I just want her to just destroy everything, right? Like, I want to give her like the extra tools to where now the way the teams used to play her, you can't do that anymore.
Porter's not just focused on Clark's on-court skills. He's tapping into something deeper, her mindset. He's all about building up Clark's confidence, joy, and self-assurance. Why? Because Porter knows that to be a true MVP, you need more than just skill. You need that mental edge, that unshakable belief in yourself. And speaking of MVP, let's talk about Porter's boldest claim. Yet when asked about Clark's MVP potential, Porter didn't hold back. He said she can do it, and he will do everything in his power to make it happen. Can you believe it? Porter's not just hinting at Clark's potential. He's practically declaring her as a front-runner for the MVP title.
Do you see MVP Caitlin on the rise?
Absolutely. I definitely do.
I think she's ready for that. See, I don't know. I think she was already...
But here's the kicker. Porter's not just talking the talk. He's putting in the work to make it happen. He's giving Clark a full off-season to develop her game. And he's confident that with this extra time and focused training, Clark's going to make an even bigger splash this season.
There.
She's right there.
And I don't think she's had a full off-season off like this where she's been able to actually develop her game truly and lock in with you and lock in on some of these perceived weaknesses or what she could improve on. So it could be some scary hours coming up.
Can you believe what we've just uncovered about Caitlin Clark's journey to potential WNBA dominance? It's not just about winning MVP anymore. Clark's already making waves. And she's just getting started. Remember, she was a top contender in last season's MVP race. And now she's at a full off season to level up her game. But here's where it gets really interesting. The Fevers got some big matchups coming up against the league's top teams. These games aren't just regular season fixtures. They Clark's chance to show the world exactly what she's made of.
And then my goals for Caitlin, I just want her to just destroy everything, right? Like, I want to give her like the extra tools to where now the way the teams used to play her, you can't do that anymore. You can't force her to take these shots. So now what do? You just got to take that. You just got to take these points and just get on the other end, right? So that's my goal. I want her to just feel super comfortable in every scenario, every coverage, whatever it is, and just destroy teams, right? You know, the goal is ultimately a championship. And that's just my goal with like all my athletes. I just want them to feel good about their games and be confident and just go into the season, you know, just with that joy, like that we all started playing when we was a kid.
Now you might be wondering what's next for Clark, and the Fever will buckle up, because if Keith Porter's predictions are on point, we're about to witness a basketball revolution. The WNBA has never seen anything like what Clark's bringing to the court with her lightning-fast decision-making and that unstoppable drive. She's not just aiming for the top, she's redefining what it means to be at the top. So keep your eyes glued to every Fever game this season. Trust me, you don't want to miss a single second of what could be the most exciting shakeup in WNBA history. Are you ready to watch Caitlin Clark take over the league?